You are now watching Believe. Do you believe?
What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of Believe Me. Week 1 in the NFL season kicks off tonight. I know I can't wait. I'm Joe Serralo, and joining me, as always, one of the best handicappers in the business, Brandon Lang, and the other man on your screen. He was an All-American in college, a Pro Bowler in the NFL. That's Kordell Stewart. We've got a lot of games to get into, but first, I want to remind you all that this episode of Believe Me is brought to you by our sponsors over at BetOnline. Head over to betonline.ag. Use that first time 50% welcome bonus promo code BELIEVE50. That's BLEAV50 for your 50% welcome bonus, and let the games begin. Gentlemen, let's dive into it. First game on the schedule this week, the Cleveland Browns, the Carolina Panthers. It's a Baker Mayfield revenge game. Brandon Lang, who do you got?
Not a game I love, but again, I'll tell you this, and I said it last week, I'm going to drink the Baker Mayfield Kool-Aid. I know the Panthers haven't been a cash cow as of late, but just something tells me it comes down to, as Slash will talk about here in a minute, a lot of times it's quarterback play in the NFL, and Baker has a lot to prove. Jacoby Brissett, I just don't trust him on the road in this situation in a near pick'em game. Once you give Baker a chip on his shoulder, that boy rises up and plays football. I'm gonna take the Panthers at home minus the 2.
Kordell, how you feeling about that? Are you riding Baker? You drinking the Kool-Aid, or are you going with Cleveland in this one?
That Kool-Aid has no sugar, baby. It's not sweet enough for me. All I know is I'll say this. My name is Kordell Stewart. That's what people call me. And my nickname is Slash, so that's what they say. But here's the deal. You have a pass defense last season that was 5th in the National Football League. You had a rush defense that was 12th in the National Football League. I think they're going to count heavy on their defense and the running game, knowing that Jacoby Brissett is going to come in and play. I think balance is the most important thing. Even though the chip on the shoulder may be pretty big for Baker Mayfield, but the rest of the guys on the team have to have that same chip. They're not coming from the same place. I think this team and the Cleveland Browns wants to prove a point of why they let him go, let alone they want to prove why they're a much better team. I think the running game, I think this defense, I think stand the test of time, and they beat the Panthers.
Brandon, what do you think there? You guys are starting off the season on opposite ends.
Listen, it's called Believe Me for a reason. I mean, I've been a handicapper for 30 years. Believe me. Joe, I'm going to tell you that, again, I will force Jacoby Brissett to go on the road in this environment, out of the box, and play air-free football against a guy that, like I said, every time you count him out, you give him something to play for, he produces and gets it done. Again, not a game I love, but my lean is I'm going to take the small home favorite.
Well, Brandon, it's called Believe Me. I'm going to believe you on this one. The Cleveland Browns have not won an opener.
Yeah, baby.
17 straight years, the Cleveland Browns have not won an opener. They are 0-16-1. Their last 17 week ones. I don't think Jacoby Brissett's the guy to get them back on track. Give me Baker Mayfield in the revenge game and the Panthers minus 2. We've got another QB revenge game. Russ Wilson. Let's ride, Bronco Nation. They're taking on the Seattle Seahawks. Brandon, Russ is a 6.5-point road favorite in Seattle. How do you see this one playing out?
Well, what my man's going to find out there up in the Pittsburgh land is that prime time near touchdown underdogs are a feisty bunch. I mean, a feisty bunch. And to think Russ is going to go in here and cook in his old stomping grounds, I just don't see that happening. Yeah, they might win. Yeah, they might get it done. But you're giving me Pete Carroll at home as a near touchdown underdog. Listen, I don't trust our boy Geno Smith as far as I can throw him. I get it. The man's cost me a lot of money, but I'm not asking the Geno to win the game. I'm asking him to keep his team in the game. I think he does. The points and the home dog in prime time is the only way to go in this one.
Brandon rolling with the Seahawks. Kordell, where are you laying in this game?
Well, I'm glad you're not going with Geno Smith, because I tell you what's coming off the edge with Randy Gregory, and Brad Chubbs. These guys coming off the edge is going to force his team to run the football. We know that team hadn't had a running game with that football team since Russell Wilson. That's why they call him Dangerous Russ, because he was the one actually getting it done with his feet. I think this team rally around Russell Wilson. They go on the road. They get a great win in a place where the 12th man will stand up, and it won't be the fan base. It's going to be the Broncos, baby, that's going to go on the road and get this win. I'm going with my man, Dangerous.
Slash, I'm going with you on this one. I typically, I'm not that high on Denver going into this season, but it's not even Russ that I'm rolling with here. It's that defense. You mentioned Randy Gregory. You mentioned Brad Chubb. I don't know how the Seahawks are going to put up a point. They could lose this one 14-0 for all I care. I'm going with Denver -6.5. I'm going with Slash.
Fools fall in love too quick, they get divorced. Good luck to you two, baby.
Yes, sir.
I love it. We got another one to get to, gents. The Kansas City Chiefs heading down to Arizona to take on the Cardinals, and they are 4.5-point favorites. Two dynamic QBs, Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray. Brandon, what's your play?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something right now. I think we're going to see some points in this one. I don't think this total of 53.5 is high enough. The Chiefs are going to score 28-35, and there's nothing you can do to stop them. I've said all along, I have to see the Chiefs defense perform first before I start to buy in and put my chips on the table with them. They didn't do much last year. Buffalo went up and down on them in the AFC divisional round. I just think I got to see that defense first. Kyler Murray at home, that offense, we know what Mahomes and that offense is going to do. 53.5 seems low to me for these two teams. I'm going to take Arizona and KC over the posted total of 53.
Ooh, Kordell, Brandon's going with an over there. Where are you leaning for a side on this one?
Well, I'll tell you what, the Cards with Vance Joseph and this defense, they've been at the top when it comes down to pass defenses. They like the Patrick Mahomes. They love to throw the football. Mm-hmm. They love to put it up in the air. And one thing they know how to do is go after the ball to get interceptions, sometimes put an offense in position to get some points. I love this Cards team. They come out, I think they put the smackdown on the Chiefs, a team that I love immensely. I like them a lot. But I think without having certain players on this offense, the deep threat, the intermediate passes, they can't just rely on Patrick Mahomes the entire time. I think this Card team's take it over.
Kordell, I'm with you 100%. I like the Cardinals plus 4.5 in this one. Brandon, I wasn't looking at the total. I think you convinced me too. I think I'm riding with the over in this one. I think I'm riding with the Cards plus 4.5. You look at just their numbers against the spread, right? Kansas City, last 2 years, as a favorite, they are just 14-17 against the number. Arizona, as a dog in the Kyler Murray era, 18-8-1, 6-0 last year as an underdog. And in September and October in the Kyler Murray era, the Arizona Cardinals 17-7 against the spread. I think them getting 4.5, it's almost like free money, but I love the over as well. Gents, we have it. Oh, Brandon, go for it.
I was going to say, you guys, if I had to pick a side in the game, I think you guys are on the right side of the game with the home dog plus 4.5. So I think you're on the right side. I think it's the right side of the game. You could do a little two-team teaser for all you bettors out there and take Arizona from plus 4.5 to plus 10.5, take the over under from 53 down to 47 and go over your little two-team 6-point teaser.
I do love that, Brandon. They didn't call me Joey the Tease in college for no reason, my man. Another game out west, the Raiders and the Chargers. The Chargers at home, 3-point favorites against the Raiders. Brandon, you and I were gushing about this Vegas team last week, man. Are you on them plus 3?
I'm going to stay with them. I actually bought the half point, and that's something we'll teach people, that when you're dealing with a 3 number and you're going to take the dog, there's no reason not to buy that half point and spend the extra 20 cents and take the -110 to -130 and get that 3 and a hook and let that half work for you. Consequently, if you have a favorite and you're laying 3, buy down to 2.5, spend the extra 30 cents. Game falls on 3, you bought it down to 2.5, you're a winner. Game falls on 3, you take that dog, buy it up to 3.5, you're a winner. Dealing with that 3 number, that 7 number, that 10 number, that 14 number, that 17 number, numbers that games fall on. You've got to take advantage of that. David Carr, Devontae Adams, Waller, Renfro. I just think out of the box, not going to be an easy game, but I got to take the value of the points with the Raiders. Josh McDaniels, when he was at Denver his first year, covered his first 6 games of the year for the Broncos as a head coach. Ooh. Here he is, game 1 out of the box. Buy the half point, get the Raiders plus 3.5.
Kordell, what are you thinking about this Raiders-Chargers game, baby?
I tell you what, Davante Adams. The reunion is back again with Derek Carr and Davante Adams, but you also have to think of their defense. Chandler Jones, I think the thing you have with Josh McDaniels and what he'll create, he'll cause this team with Herbert actually being a quarterback to have to run around because he has some pretty good feet. I like what I like when it comes down to the ball getting up in the air, going vertical with Davante Adams. We're going to see a boatload of that. That's what I'm looking for as an offensive guy. I think there'll be too many points scored on the board for the Chargers to compete Right now, Herbert still has to prove himself. I don't think he has enough. I'm going with the Raiders.
Ooh, all right. Look, we're in agreement here. We're both going with some West Coast dogs, the Cardinals, and now the Raiders. Look, the Raiders have covered 3 straight week 1 games. Last year as an underdog, they were 7-4 against the number. Last year as a favorite, the Chargers were just 4-7 against the number. Raiders have won and covered 4 of their last 6 in this rivalry. Also, a little note for all of you, in the last 11 games that these two teams, these divisional rivals, have squared off against one another, the winner has also covered. Gentlemen, we've got one more game to get to before we get to our game of the week. And that is a rematch of last year's season kickoff opener, the Tampa Bay Bucs and the Dallas Cowboys. This time around, it's in Jerry's world. Brandon, what do you like?
What a great game last year, 31-29. Dallas covered the number. I believe they're getting 4.5 to 5, maybe as much as 6 in the game. Dak was up and down the field all day long. Now you got rumors of Tom Brady and Gisele getting a divorce. She wanted him to retire. He retired when he didn't want to retire. And then, of course, he sits there back home, saying, I still can play. I just had a great season. He goes to her and says, you know what? I'm going to go back and play. She says, I can't handle that. I've dealt with this for 22 years. I just can't. I just can't. Rumors of the divorce. I just don't know where either one of these teams are right now. Dallas and Jerry, I will say this. I think Tampa Bay comes out offensively and struggles a little bit. And conversely, that defense of Tampa Bay is legit. This posted totals 50.5. Until I see first string offenses, Dak in full effect, Tom in full effect, I'm going to play under the posted total of 50.5 because I think both defenses match up well with these respective offenses, especially Tampa Bay's D going against the Cowboys offense. So I'm going to play under 50.5. If I had to lean towards a side, I might lean towards Tampa just because it's Brady versus Prescott, but I like the total at under 50.5.
B-Lane going with an under. Kordell, pick a side in this one. Who do you like?
I'm going with the Cowboys. I like to know, what does love have to do with it? Giselle's not going to determine the factor here. Let's be transparent. There were 6 games last year where the Cowboys, the first 6 games, where the Cowboys actually covered. I think here's a team, as you alluded to a moment ago, here's a team with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Their front line is pretty much it's like shuffling. It's like playing, you're juggling. You just don't know who's going to be in the lineup. I mean, you lost a few players like the Gronks of the world and a few other players. Yes, they have Julio, but I think this Cowboys team is right now really dialed up to really make a great run. Dak Prescott's truly been playing some really seasonal football. And I think this is his time to actually have a come-out party and actually play against one of the best, if not the best in the game, to show why they should be considered as a contender for playing in the Super Bowl this year.
I mean, look, Kordell, you made some valid points. The Tampa Bay Bucs, that interior of the offensive line, it's a big question mark. But at the same time, like Brandon said, you're going Brady versus Prescott. To me, this is a no-brainer. It's the Bucs -2. I'm actually not siding with either one of your picks here. I just love Tampa -2 in this one. They've won 12 road games in the Tom Brady era, 10 of them by 3 or more points. I think 2 is just way too small of a line here. I don't think Dallas is going to be as good as they were last year. They also struggled at home last year. They were 8-1 both against the spread and straight up on the road, just 5-3 against the number and straight up at home. I think Tampa comes in with a week 1 win, and that takes us, gentlemen, to our game of the week right here in my city of Los Angeles. The Buffalo Bills, the LA Rams. Kickoff is tonight, gents. Brandon, what do you like in this game?
This is a tough game to me because we didn't see any Matthew Stafford in the preseason. And they're rolling in here with some big missing pieces, Odell being the big one, and Whitworth retired. And or I think that's who it is. And I'm telling you, I hate laying chalk on the road. I just do. It's like it's against my religion to lay chalk on the road, especially in prime time. I just, as crazy as it sounds, I just can't do it. And everything points to Buffalo minus the points. Everybody's bet Buffalo minus the points. Line to open up 1. Now it's 2.5. The whole world's on Buffalo minus the points. I just refuse to take road favorites in the NFL. I just do, because I've learned you get burned a lot more than you win. It's as simple as that. Home dogs in prime time are always the right side of the game. I'm going to buy the half point, get the Rams up to +3. I think Mr. Aaron Donald's got a little bit to say about Mr. Josh Allen. I got to take the home dog in prime time.
Ooh, Brandon on the Rams to start the season. Kordell, Rams, Bills. This could very well be a Super Bowl 57 preview. Who do you like?
I'm going with the Bills, guys. I have to go with the Bills. I think when you look at this defense, they're number one in the National Football League last season in the pass and also total defense and 13 against the rush. I think that's going to be solidified by having Von Miller on the edge. This team is truly primed with this player being an addition to this defense to be able to make a run. Most importantly, be able to travel and play against this team in the Rams with Matthew Stafford. Got it this time. Matthew Stafford at the helm, someone coming off the edge, causing him to step up more than he wants to actually get into the middle of this defense and get snuffed. I look at this Bills team with something to prove to say, you know what? This is going to be the anchor of how our year is going to be this season. We're going to come out, play physical defense. We're going to come out and we're going to control the line of scrimmage. And your quarterback and Josh Allen, I think, is going to take over the show. He and Stephon Diggs are going to go out and have a primetime show, baby. They're going to make some things happen. They call me Kordell Stewart. I'm telling you. And my nickname is Slash. That's what they said. I'm trying to give you something.
You know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't get him to drink. That defense. Listen, that defense couldn't play dead in a Western in the second half against the Kansas City Chiefs. So Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy roam the sidelines with Sean McDermott and that coaching staff of the Buffalo Bills, who lost their offensive coordinator to the New York Giants. So have at it, be my guest. But at the end of the day, I will force Sean McDermott to show me he can coach a big game on the road and win a big game on the road before I take my money and back my man.
Gentlemen, you're making this really damn hard on me. You know, look, it's my job to break the tie. And it was easier. You know, the first game, I was all over Brandon and the Panthers and Baker. Second game, I was with Kordell. Russ is going to cook in Seattle. This game's tough. And I'm going to go with Brandon because of my own experiences in taking road dogs in primetime. I took the Buccaneers last year, Sunday night against New Orleans, or rather, it wasn't a primetime game. That was the one in Tampa. But I took them against New Orleans. I got burned big. I'm not going to do it again. I'm going to go with the Rams money line plus 120. And it's all because of that defense. It's because on each tier of that defense, you got a Hall of Famer, Aaron Donald, Bobby Wagner, Jalen Ramsey. And even though the Bills are still my Super Bowl pick, I'm still on Buffalo to win the Super Bowl. Tre'Davious White is going to have to be a big part of that Super Bowl run, and he is out. He's injured, going to miss at least the first month or so of the season. I'm sorry, the rookie, Kaiir Elam, you think he's stopping Cooper Kupp? I'm going with the Rams, money line in LA for this game. Kordell, I'm sorry. Brandon, I believe you. But gents, go ahead, B-Lang.
I was going to say, before this season is come and gone, I will teach my young Slash up there, home dogs are a good thing. We'll get you there. You're not there yet, but help me to help you. Help me to help.
Peer pressure.
You thought we were arguing. I think we're communicating.
Peer pressure. You got Joe believing you. Got Joe over there believing you.
One of the first things.
I know is.
Go ahead, Kordell.
I was about to say, all I know is Von Miller does exist.
Mm-hmm.
I just want you guys to remember that. Von Miller does exist. He is the piece of this puzzle that's different than most. So I know the Rams, they're coming. They got their pretty jewelry. They're a little excited. Snoop Dogg is going to be there. There's so much trouble in the LBC. I get all of that stuff. Okay. I forget about it. I'm telling you.
All right.
Kordell, I will say this. One of the first things Brandon ever told me, and he said it before when he was talking about those 3-point lines, it was don't be a cheap, by the half point. You'll pick up on a lot of little things from B-Lang throughout this season. Gents, we're not done with this game, though. We've got player props to discuss. I want the best prop bet from each of you. Brandon, starting with you for this NFL kickoff game.
No Odell Beckham, Cooper Kupp, receiving yards, 90.5. My boy's going to go off, get on that. He'll get over 100. He's just as good a route runner as we get. Over 90.5 receiving yards for Cooper Kupp.
I love it, man. No argument for me there. I just mentioned that Kaiir Elam being the CB1 for Buffalo is a big reason I'm taking the Rams. I love Kupp. Kordell, what do you got for your player prop?
I'm going with Stephon Diggs with the over at 68.5 yards. I'm going with Stephon. I think he goes out and have a Jalen Ramsey and all those guys. They're going to have a hard time trying to find him. I think they still do what they do. I think he goes with the over when it comes down to Stephon Diggs at 68.5.
Good one there.
I like them both. Look, Jalen Ramsey, maybe the best cornerback in the league, but he always stays on the same side of the field. You put Diggs on the other side, and the Rams just lost their second corner in Darius Williams. He's a Jacksonville Jaguar now. I think both of those wideouts go over. I love it. Sticking with both of these wideouts going over, I think this game goes over. That posted total is 52. 2 straight NFL kickoff games have gone over, 3 of the last 5. I think that this one, with some losses to each side's secondary, I think this one could be a definite over 52 points. Gents, we've got one last game to get to. And this is a fun one because I don't know what this game is. So, Brandon, we're going to start with you. What is one game this weekend? Could be college, could be NFL, could be curling for all I care. What is one bet you love that was not on our main slate today?
The Mid-American Conference.
Of course.
Boys out of Northern Illinois rolling into Tulsa, getting 5.5. Northern Illinois returns 18 starters back from a team last year that was dominant at the end of the season. Rocky Lombardo Sr. was at Michigan State. He's now in his 2nd year. He's got full command of their offense, receivers, the best offensive line in the MAC, going on the road, getting 5.5 from a Tulsa team that returns only 12 starters out of the MAC. MAC dogs early, baby. Northern Illinois, the Huskies, plus 5.5.
Always count on Brandon Lang for something out of left field. A little action for you on Believe Me. Kordell, you got a game we haven't gotten to? What do you like?
What about those Steelers? No one's talking about this. What is the Steelers? What they got the Steelers losing by? What is it? 4 to 5 points, 6 points? What is it?
6.5.
6.5 between dogs.
On the road. I know Ben Roethlisberger's not there. I think Najee Harris actually still goes out and does what he's been doing. His defense plays stout. I think up front, the front 7 apply the pressure they need to on brother Joe Burrow. We know he's going to go out there and be Joe Cool and have some great plays with Chase on the outside, but I think the Steelers have something to prove. Mitchell Trubisky wearing the right number. He's wearing the number 10, baby. The golden number 10. He goes out and get it done. I say my Steelers go on the road and grab one.
All right. I like that.
All right. Northern Illinois, Pittsburgh Steelers. Didn't see that one coming, but folks, when in doubt, believe me, believe us. That does it for episode 2. Week 1 of the NFL season kicks off tonight. The Rams and Bills out here in LA. For Brandon Lang, for Kordell / Stewart, I'm Joe Serralo. Thanks for tuning in.
Peace.